All right, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a very easy 3-step formula for creating filling, very easy to make, low calorie density meals. This video is particularly for anyone who feels that they've been trying to eat plant-based and trying to eat low calorie density meals, but that they're just not filling enough, or that they get hungry an hour after their meal. I feel that this will be helpful to keep in mind. And it's also for anyone who feels that mealtime comes around and they just don't know what to make. Maybe you find that you don't have a lot of time or energy to put into mealtime and you want something that is just going to be easy and easily repeatable. So the 3-step formula is 1, we're gonna include a wet starch. So wet starch is anything from rice to potatoes, sweet potatoes, barley, millet. And we're also going to include some form of beans or lentils. So you can use kidney beans, cannellini beans, lentils, chickpeas, black beans, black-eyed peas, any bean essentially. And we're gonna include at least 1 vegetable. You can use several of these. You can use 2 different wet starches in the same meal, 2 or more vegetables and 2 or more beans. That's completely fine. But remembering to include at least 1 of each of these in either your lunch or dinner is going to really help to keep you full, especially the wet starch. Now, if weight loss is your goal, I know it can be tempting to want to stick with all of the low calorie density vegetables and make salads and lots of meals that are based around zucchinis and broccoli and spinach. And you might think, but you know, they're only 100 calories per pound or less. If I eat a lot of these, doesn't that mean I'm going to lose weight more quickly? Perhaps you will, but you're also much more likely to be very, very hungry. And when you're not truly satisfied after your meals, that is when the cravings for sugar and salt and packaged processed foods kick in. And so I really believe that the wet starch is a key component to this way of eating. So don't be afraid of the potatoes and the rice. All right, meal number 1 is one of my all-time favorites. This is something that I made almost every day when I first started eating this way over a year ago. It is so filling and it honestly just feels like a treat. It's hard to believe that it is so healthy. And if you've been watching me for a long time, you will certainly recognize this. It is my baked no oil fries and a dip, which I'm going to make with lemon juice, lots of spices, an entire can of chickpeas, and a big handful of spinach blended in there. So again, we've got our wet starch, we have got our beans, chickpeas, and we've got our vegetable, our greens. I enjoy eating all of this as a meal, but it also makes a really nice snack. If you like dipping chips into dips, this is a great low calorie density replacement for that. And you can get really creative with it and add different spices and flavors in. I'm going to be adding paprika, onion powder, a bit of salt, and some dill. And if you've been watching me for a while, you'll know that I love adding liquid smoke to things. So you can also add a few drops of liquid smoke and give this a bit of a hickory flavor. All right, so first I am going to take these 4 small russet potatoes. I'm going to rinse them and leave the skin on and slice them into fries. And I'm gonna bake them on 450 Fahrenheit for about 25 minutes. All right, so I'm only going to use 3 potatoes because this other one won't fit on my baking tray, and that actually looks like enough. So I'm going to put these in the oven now. I also recommend spreading them out more than I've done here. It just allows them to get nice and crispy if they're not overlapping each other. Try to spread them out a little bit. Well, that'll have to do. All right, I should also say this is not a what I eat in a day video. I've just eaten a large bowl of oatmeal with fruit, and so I'm actually just showing you easy lunches and dinners that you can make. Alex is going to be eating this particular meal that I'm making because I am not hungry at the moment. All right, so I have opened up and rinsed the can of chickpeas. Just going to put the entire can in there. You can use cannellini beans, and also black beans are really good for this dip as well. And it's a massive handful of spinach. I'm just putting that in there. Some lemon juice. You can measure this out if you'd like, but I just kind of free pour. About 1/3 cup of water. Some salt, some paprika, and some onion powder. I literally put onion powder or garlic powder in almost all of my dishes because I just like it. Also going to put a little bit of dill. And time to blend it up. All right, if you want to find out about the exact blender I've been using for over 2 years now, I will link that in the description box of this video. It's a vacuum blender and it makes everything really creamy. There they are, nice and crispy, and I'm just going to transfer them onto a plate, and super easy. All right, for our next meal, we are going to be making a rice dish with 1/2 can of dark red kidney beans. And for our vegetables, we're going to be dicing up a zucchini, an onion, and a few mushrooms. I'm going to be sauteing this on the stove top with a splash of water and then putting the lid on to cook it. Now, we're not using oil because this is an oil-free way of eating. But you can use water to saute almost anything that you would normally use oil for. You just have to make sure to stir it often so that it doesn't stick to the pan or pot. And to season this meal, I'm going to be using some garlic powder, a splash of soy sauce, and a splash of lime juice. Now, this type of dish you can make extra of and then get some glass meal prep containers and just scoop a little bit of everything into some of those containers. Make sure they have airtight lids with them. And when they cool, just put them in the fridge and you've got 3 or 4 ready-made lunches or dinners, which is something that I have started to do a lot lately, and I've actually found it super convenient. I was never a big fan of leftovers or meal prepping, but ever since I kind of started doing it and making it my own, I've actually found it, to be very convenient, and I've been enjoying it. Since I cooked all the rice, I am actually just going to make up some lunches for the next few days. So, we've got a scoop of rice in each. And something that I try to say over and over again on my channel is that you do not need to weigh or measure portions or amounts of food when you're eating this way. The food is so low in calories per bite that you really don't have to worry about that at all, which is nice. And I actually just rinsed the entire can of kidney beans, and I'm just gonna split it amongst these 3 dishes. For seasoning, garlic powder, a drizzle of soy, and a drizzle of lime juice on each. That's more than a drizzle. It's all right, these are all for me anyways, and I like it very limey. Nothing fancy, super simple. Again, you can add more to this if you want to make it a little more exciting. All right, so for the third easy meal example with a wet starch, a bean, and vegetables, I'm going to be making a soup. Now this is a very easy thing to make if you have some vegetables that you want to use up. Like I've got the rest of the package of these mushrooms that need to be eaten, so I'm going to be washing these, dicing them up, and putting them in the soup. I've got a sweet potato and 3 little russet potatoes. I'm going to peel these, dice them up, put that in the soup. An onion, the entire can of cannellini beans rinsed, and some frozen broccoli, frozen corn, and frozen sweet peas. To add some more flavor, I'm going to be adding in some salt, some ground cumin, some liquid smoke, which is my favorite, and some paprika. I may also add some spice in as well. And I'm going to be using about 4 cups of water in a pot on the stovetop, and I'm just going to show you how much of each of these I put into the soup. And I'll also be blending this together as well because I like a thick, creamy soup. All right, we've got 4 cups of water in there. I'm doing half a cup each of corn and peas and 1 cup of broccoli. I'm going to set my timer for 30 minutes and let this cook, and then I'll add in the spices and the beans. All right, now I'm adding in the entire can of cannellini beans, which I've just rinsed. A lot of garlic powder. Some ground cumin, paprika, and about 10 to 20 drops of liquid smoke. I will leave this for another 3 to 5 minutes on medium heat, and then I'm going to blend it up. All right, here we go. This soup smells amazing. And I'm going to add a bit more paprika. Yum, yum, yum. I don't know about you, but I'm a big fan of soups. They're just really flavorful and perfect for the winter months, and also very filling. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time.